So today is the perfect day to do a little book review. So in April, I read a 8-book series. There's one prequel, which is the last one to the other 7, which is called The Sick Boys by Lucy Smoke. Absolutely love them. I could not put them down. I kid you not when I tell you it took me about 2 weeks to read these, if that. Coming from someone who has a full-time job, who has a toddler running around at home, a husband, and a home to take care of, being able to read 8 decently sized books in less than 2 weeks is impressive. I am so freaking obsessed, which is why I decided to do a review. These 8 books that we're going to be talking about are by Lucy Smoke. They are the Sick Boys series. And let me tell you, they are effed up. They are cruel, they are bloody, they are monsters, they are heathens, they are vengeful. Everything. We're going to get into all of it, okay? Boys follow a line of East Point heirs, and they own some of the largest fortunes in the world. Problem is, their fathers are even more horrid than they are. The story basically follows it's hate, it's revenge, it's torture, it's underground societies, it's so many secrets that come with so many rules and so many strings attached, okay? But what happens when these sick boys find their match? This is a enemies to lovers series, okay? So the first 3 books follow Dean and Avalon, pretty little savage, stone cold queen, and natural born killers. So Avalon makes her own rules, and she doesn't follow anybody else. And Dean is the king of the East Point heirs. No one defies him. They'll be revealing secrets, they're getting revenge, and realizing you not fear much of anything, but there's definitely one thing that you do. And my girl here is savage. She's ruthless. She's witty. She doesn't take any crap from anyone, and she proves and turns out to be the queen to Dean's king in the sick boy society, okay? Dean is sick, he's cruel, he's powerful, he does not entertain BS, but he's been struggling to get from underneath his father. Avalon turns out to be much more than a deviant that they need to protect and control. So these first 3 books, I love. Obviously, the first book is what gets you hooked when you start reading a series, and I kid you not, I could not put it down. It's very complex and so many different layers, and a lot of complex books can be difficult to read, but hers is not. She's very thorough, so much detail and everything, and I absolutely love that. And I've seen some comments where people complained about her books being too wordy and she has too many adjectives and things that describe the scenes and the people, but I love that. That is the type of reader that I am. I absolutely need detail. I'm a detail-oriented person and always have been. So the fact that she did that in all of her books, that you knew exactly what they were thinking, you knew exactly how they felt, you actually got to know them. I'm not kidding. This is the dark romance series to my Krista and Becca Ritchie, Calloway, and Addicted series. I'm not kidding. I felt so connected to the core 6, to those couples and to those characters. And in this book, I feel so connected to all of that. Love how she wrote these books, every single one of them, because of how detail-oriented she is and because of how well you get to know these characters like they're real human beings out here with you. And even though it's a dark romance, and me trying to go into their inner circle definitely wouldn't happen, I'd definitely be getting myself killed, and knowing every single detail that is about them is wonderful. I absolutely love the way that Lucy Smoke writes, and those first 3 books definitely got me hooked. The first one for sure. I love Dean and Avalon. I love what they are about. I love that we get a huge, strong female who doesn't take crap from anyone and says whatever she wants and does what she pleases. And she is so not just mentally strong, but she's physically strong. That girl has had to go through so much crap, and Dean as well. But they complement each other so well, and I love that. Now, getting on to the 4th book, Wicked Dark Heathens, follows Abel and Riley. She's a purple-haired hacker with a very dark past meets a playboy with a wicked smile, okay? Beneath the smug arrogance lies a monster that she has to rely on. She's going to survive the past that has come back to take her. Riley is a gifted hacker living off of charity, scholarships, and payments from her wicked skills on the web. And Abel is a heathen using his cunning sexiness to hide his pain when he realizes that what he has been craving comes in the form of one little hacker girl who's on the run. This, and so many other things, forces him to face everything he has buried so deep down. So Abel has a dark past as well, but it's more painful than brutal, I guess you could say. If you want to compare Riley's past to his, they both have very dark, horrible pasts that we don't want anyone to have to deal with. But Abel has more of a, I have to do what my father says. I wasn't beaten and tortured physically, but mentally there's a lot going on there. And not to mention that all of these boys lost someone very, very, very dear and special to them that was help keeping them, you know, together and keeping them with their humanity and their morals. In their fathers were the complete opposite, and they lost this person. And that took a really, really, really bad toll on everyone, but especially Abel, for other reasons that once you read the books you will understand. Now this is the only book that follows Abel and Riley. Abel is one of the right-hand guys. He's also one of the East Point heirs to Dean. Riley is a hacker that they use often to be able to get lots of information on different people and things that they need able to do their business. They are not normal college students, even though they all wish that they could be, but they have a past and they have money and a family, and just being the East Point heirs and the sick boys in general come with a lot of responsibility that they have to deal with. And that now that things are attacking them and their family and people are after them, they now have to take control and figure out what the hell is going on. I appreciated it wasn't as dark as the first three. I definitely think it was a palate cleanser book in between a really dark one. Still a dark romance. It was still a lot of things that you had to deal with, and you got to know these characters, but it wasn't as dark as the first three and the last two were gonna be. So I definitely think it was that book for the rest of that. Number 5 and 6, we have Bloody Cruel Psycho and Bloody Cruel Monster. So this one follows Clover and Braxton. So Braxton is the third guy in the East Point heirs. He is also, you know, you always have the main band and the two on the side. So Braxton is the other one. He is the quiet giant with psychotic thoughts and tendencies, and he wants revenge on the people that hurt his family. The way to do this, though, kidnap the one thing that will bring the man he's looking for out of hiding. Clover hides a part of herself. The one part only comes out with rage and the need to survive. But to save the only person that she's ever cared about, she decides to take his place. So she thought. He never knew that there was a monster that could match his own. But his betrayal to her made her whole. And now both of them are out for revenge. Braxton is definitely the hardcore out of them. He's the brute. He's the tall man who shows force. The worst life growing up, in my opinion. Out of the boys, his father was horrendous. I honestly have no words to describe how Braxton's father is, but let's just say he feels guilty, is looking for revenge to get back at the men who hurt his family, who hurt Avalon, who is coming after them in the first place. And in doing so, he takes a pet basically and locks her up in his tower. I don't think he ever expected that the woman that he took was going to match his own vengeful, psychotic monster tendencies. She disappears. He has to have her back, and consequences be damned. Which leads us into book number freaking 7. Number 7, Vengeful, Rotten Casualty, reminds me of Pretty Little Liars and Allie. So there's this one person, this one girl that has been talked about since the very beginning that has a connection to Avalon and has a connection to a guy who was supposed to be the East Point heirs' rival. Like, they have a rival family, but it was the fathers in previous generations, and they don't want to continue the tradition, even though it's really hard because it was ingrained in them to continue to hate this person and whatnot. But he is connected to them, and he is connected to her, and Avalon is too. So this book follows Mickey and Luke. So Mickey is someone that Avalon and Luke have been searching for a long time, okay? And they use Loma's hacker girl Riley to help find her, to help track her down. Can't find her anywhere, but they did find a connection between the two. Just gave a little bit of a spoiler if you've never heard of the series or you've never read it before. Oh my god, I love it, I love it. Like I said, it reminded me so much of Pill and Allie because she's talked about from the very beginning, and then finally the last book kind of wraps everything up in a neat little bow and it brings them in. So she's back. Mickey is back. She is here to take back what was stolen from her. She sold her soul to her love's father to freaking protect him. And now she has the opportunity to enact her revenge after years of torture. Luke lost her and he wants to find her. Until one day, she finds him. He's going to help her get the revenge that she oh so freaking deserves. But Luke is scared and he wants her to stay. But the only thing that Mickey's living for is her vengeance. But once that's gone, is she gonna be gone too? This book made me cry. Mickey just touched me in another way. Like, this is definitely the darkest book, and it connects everything. Like, from the very beginning, it just connects it. It is the perfect middle piece to finish that puzzle, okay? It is absolutely beautiful of how the entire story is, and the fact that we were able to bring Luke in even though he wasn't a part of that 6, and then we bring him in and now we have 8. Like, it's freaking beautiful. I don't want to give any more spoilers, so you're just gonna have to read it. Definitely, but this last book definitely made me cry, okay? It is beautiful. The writing is perfect. She did an amazing job at all of these flashbacks that she had in every single one of these books, and just bringing up snippets of who this woman is and putting it in almost every single book, and then finally bringing her in at the end, which everyone knows. You kind of have like an inkling, oh my god, we're gonna figure out who she is, where she's at, what happened to her, and then in that last book you just never expect what comes out of it. Into our prequel, book number 8. It's Forbidden Deviant Games. It follows Vic and Haley. It's the prequel to the Sick Boys, so it's before them. It's when the boys were still in high school. She's a waitress making her way through college, but she falls for the dangerous and violent right-hand man to the East Point King, which would be Dean's father. Haley tried to stay away, but he refused to let her go, especially after she denied him and then put herself in danger. So this is the smallest book out of all of them. It is the prequel. It's also kind of like a palate cleanser. It's like when you finish that last book and you just don't know what to do with your life. Like when you finish a really great TV series and you're like having to rewatch it. Like I did that with The Vampire Diaries. I had to rewatch it after I finished it. Like I just restarted the first episode because I didn't know what to do with my life. So I love the fact that Lucy did this. She gave us that book so we didn't have to go back and restart it. We didn't feel lost. We didn't feel like, oh my god, what just happened? Like, kind of chill out. It gave us like a little cool down after the hard workout. That's basically what that book was for me, and I really appreciated it. And it made me smile, it made me happy, and it made me just want to relive the whole experience again. So with that being said, thank you so much, Lucy Smoke, for bringing the Sick Boys to life. I loved the books. I loved how you wrote them. I love your writing style. It's definitely something that connects to me. I love the detail. You continuing to do that and bringing that to, I want every single one of you out there to go read the Sick Boy series. I really hope you get into them because they are wonderful, very talented author, and I cannot wait to meet you in Boston at Cinders and Stardust in just like 2.5 months. I'm so freaking excited.